You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I am back, Rodgers, for Black and White Sports 2. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment. Check out the audio on podcasts. It is got all of our audio from all of our channels, as well as our actual 4 to 5 day a week live stream over on Rumble. And we certainly say some things on there that YouTube is going to frown upon. So that's where it happens, and then it goes up also on podcast. So let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. We've got his farewell to Green Bay that we're going to talk about for a brief moment. But first, we're going to get to a former, and I would be remiss, it would be irresponsible of me to not mention the fact that this is a former rival Detroit Lions quarterback. All right, rival to Green Bay. Scott Mitchell. Now, in case that seems to ring a bell, and for somebody my age it certainly does, Scott Mitchell had a very strange NFL career, okay? He was sort of a perennial backup that had a very odd, and when I got to looking at this, I was like, yikes. It kind of made me think of the season that Geno Smith just had. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh, no, that might not go so well for the Seahawks. One has nothing to do with the other, okay? But that was my first thought. I was like, wow, a big random outlier season. Well, Scott Mitchell, when he was 27, had one of the best seasons anybody's ever had for a Detroit Lions quarterback. 4,300 yards, 32 TDs, and only 12 picks. They went 10-6 that year. And Detroit thought, oh my God, we've got a franchise quarterback. Except he came way back down to earth for the rest of his career. You had a 17-17 TD interception, 1-to-1 ratio the following season, less than 3,000 yards. And then they did go 9-7, and he threw for almost 3,500 yards and 19 TDs, but he had 14 picks. So, anyway, the point I'm trying to make is he certainly got a right to an opinion, and I'm not one of these people, and people do this to Chris Sims. Well, Chris Sims was a terrible NFL quarterback, so why is he talking about it? Some of the best quarterback coaches in the league, some of the best offensive coordinators were not good quarterbacks. And some of them never even played in the NFL. But you can be a very good studier of film and be able to look and evaluate and break down film. Maybe that was the strength of your game, and the physical talents didn't match up with some of the mental stuff, okay? And that does happen. You'll have a quarterback that can very well read defenses and can break down film and do all of that with the best of them. But they don't have a strong enough arm to be able to make the right throw that they're trying to make, and it gets picked off, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, so I don't automatically discount that, but Scott Mitchell has some very harsh words about Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets and just what he thinks or how he thinks that is actually going to go, because he believes it's not going to go well. Now, we've made a lot of Aaron Rodgers videos on this channel. By the way, on a side note, yesterday morning, I corrected something from when we broke the news about the season involving 65% of the snaps. No, we were originally right. Florio clarified it is 65% of the upcoming season, 2023, the season we're going into. And if he plays 65% of those snaps in this coming season, then they get next year's first-round pick. Well, shit, that's awful. I mean, that's terrible. That's not, in my opinion, that's not worth it. Okay? I thought it was 65% of the 2024 season. That's why I corrected it yesterday morning. It's not. There's nothing, no protection in there for 2024, or nothing that's going to like entice him to come back and play a second season. And we've been very vocal about the fact that if you didn't feel like you could get a second year out of Aaron Rodgers, I would not have made this trade, period. You know, I just wouldn't have. I'd want him for 2 good seasons. And I thought, well, that's got to be 65% of 2024's snaps. No, it's this season. Well, Jesus, I hope 65% of this season's snaps are pretty much a given. So, you know, I don't think that does look good on Joe Douglas, but I think maybe Woody Johnson probably got involved, started probably feeling the heat, and I think there was some behind the scenes that were like, well, how much credence is there to these 49ers rumors floating around? Or do we F around and wait till a different team gets involved that gives the Packers another random AFC team? Say all of a sudden the Titans had gotten involved behind the scenes. Then the Jets could have had a real problem. And you got to wonder, there was too much up front, this is what we're going to do. You know, and publicly telling people this is what we're going to do. So, anyway, let's get to these comments. That's neither here nor there, but I wanted to clarify that part of the trade yet again, because I just couldn't believe that. I was like, they didn't? That's not for 2024? That's for 2023, 65% of snaps? Damn, that better be a given. There better not be any questions about whether or not he's going to get 95% of the snaps in the upcoming season. That's nuts to me. This is the comeback. Former NFL quarterback makes brutal Aaron Rodgers comments. Many people have had plenty to say about Aaron Rodgers going to the New York Jets since the possibility was first raised eons ago. Arguably, no one has had harsher or more brutal takes on Rodgers and the Jets than former NFL quarterback Scott Mitchell. Now co-host of KSL Sports Unrivaled, the podcast, Mitchell talked about former Green Bay Packers quarterback this week. Co-host Alex Curry asked Mitchell about the chances of Rodgers taking the Jets to the Super Bowl. Quote, I don't believe he will get the Jets to the Super Bowl, neither did me or John. Mitchell said, when asked to put the odds of Rodgers leading the Jets to the big game, Mitchell said, quote, 12%. And that wasn't even the most incredible thing that Mitchell had to say. Quote, I don't believe he's going to get them to the Super Bowl. He couldn't get the Packers to the Super Bowl. You know, that's hard to argue with. Okay, I mean, a lot of years, won one Super Bowl, and I understand I never was a big fan of everything that the Packers did, but there were times when he talked about the talent around him at the same time that Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones is on the offensive side of the ball, that and David Bakhtiari was his tackle. It was sort of hard to argue that, no, Aaron, you got some pretty good weapons out there, actually. You know, I mean, you had sort of there the last 3 years their version of the triplets, and they didn't do much with it, you know? That's, so let's listen.
What are the odds that Aaron Rodgers takes the Jets to the Super Bowl?
Unknowable mystery.
That he takes them
to the Super Bowl in the time that he's there?
Yes.
I'm going to say it's a Joe Namath 12% chance.
That's not a lot, dude.
No.
You don't believe in Aaron Rodgers?
I don't believe he's going to get him to the Super Bowl. He couldn't get the Packers to the Super Bowl, and
he won one.
I know, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And think of all the NFC Championship games that they had. I think he had like 4 in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Come on, you don't lose championship games at Lambeau Field. You just don't.
Tundra of Lambeau
Field. Aaron Rodgers may be overrated, maybe washed up.
Quote him.
He's going to get washed up with the Jets, that's for sure.
Quote him.
Wow. So, I mean, you know, Scott Mitchell didn't hold back at all. He And I think, from what I can tell, just gauging where fans are at in the comment section and sort of various websites I've been reading fan reaction, I think most fans are feel pretty confident that Rodgers is probably not going to make the Super Bowl with the Jets, okay? And that he likely won't make another Super Bowl again. I don't know if that's why the Jets necessarily made this deal, right? You've been a dumpster fire at quarterback forever, okay? And you made a draft pick, you missed, you feel like he needs a mentor, and you've got a really damn good little team around Aaron Rodgers. I think the Jets were looking for some relevance here. Relevance and the ability to make it into the playoffs. All right? Make it into the playoffs. Once you get in the playoffs, again, let's see what happens once we get in. But right now, we're not even getting in. So let's get to the playoffs. We said, me and John, they're not going to win that division. I mean, they're not beating the Bills in all likelihood, right? They're not. And, I mean, some could argue Dolphins are going to give them a hell of a run, and the Patriots are going to be wildly better on offense this year. So that division's going to be tough. We really believed, John and myself, that the Jets are probably going to get the 6th or 7th seed in the NFL playoffs. Granted, you get in the playoffs, a team has an injury that you're going to play or something like that, loses a quarterback. That changes things. But I think this was a trade seeking some relevance more than, hey, he's going to put us over the top and into the Super Bowl. No, I hope that's not. I understand Jets fans are fired up, and they should be. They're gonna get an automatic 5 primetime NFL games. You know, there's heavy rumors that it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys against Aaron Rodgers and the Jets on Thanksgiving Day. That could end up being the highest rated regular season NFL game ever. And there's excitement around that. So I get that. The Jets are involved. They're in the conversation. And I kind of think that was the purpose of this. So let's get to Aaron Rodgers saying goodbye to Green Bay Packer fans. Aaron Rodgers will say hello to the Jets with an introductory news conference today. He said goodbye to the Green Bay Packers in an Instagram post Tuesday evening. What began with a myriad of thank you notes to the late Ted Thompson for drafting him, to his many coaches, teammates, and behind-the-scenes staffers with the Packers, and to the fans, ended with a message that looked to the future. Quote, "This is not the end for us," Rodgers wrote. "I will see you again, Green Bay. You'll always have my heart." There he is, a very young man. Of course, he famously sat in the draft room for a very long time. I'm a Niners fan. We took Alex Smith, obviously, and I love Alex. Alex is one of those. Alex is a true outlier in the NFL. A guy that went from a complete and total what looked like all-time NFL bust into turning himself into a solid professional NFL quarterback, and it didn't happen till like the 7th season. I'm not sure that happens now. I just think he would bust and be gone. But he didn't get real coaching until Harbaugh came along. And that just shows you the value of coaching. Harbaugh completely saved Alex's career, and then Andy Reid got a hold of him, and he even took a further step up. But the Niners should have taken Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And we didn't, and it was like WTF. He was like Tom Brady. The Niners were Aaron Rodgers' favorite childhood team. The Packers have already said Rodgers will someday have his number 12 retired, and his name placed on Lambeau Field's facade. Upon his election to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, he'll walk in first ballot. Quote, I have so much respect for Aaron, not only the person, but the player that he is, Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst said Monday shortly after the terms of the trade were agreed upon. There's so much gratitude in what he's done for this organization. That's a very nice statement. Gutekunst said he wished he would have been able to speak with Rodgers before he made the trade, but that never happened. I know this. He'll always be a Packer, Gutekunst said. He'll be one of the best who has ever done it around here. I have a lot of respect how he went about it, and he'll be missed. There's no doubt about it. Players like that don't come around very often, but at the same time, we're excited where we're headed and we're moving to do. Wishing him nothing but the best. Okay, so that's what Green Bay said as well in this equation. So there you have it. Scott Mitchell, I mean, lack of a better way of putting it, I mean, he shit on Aaron Rodgers' legacy a little bit, right? And I don't know that he necessarily had to go to the places he's going to. Lord knows I'm not some big Scott Mitchell guy. I'm just not. But he's entitled to his opinion, and I think it came across very harshly, the way he criticized Rodgers, and his legacy even. But I think a lot of people feel like there was underachievement that happened with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has the kind of talent that I feel like a team should have came away with a minimum of two Lombardis, and really more like 3. And more than likely, he will have 1. And that it seems like an underachievement. It does. And he said, I don't think the Jets will be Super Bowl contenders. Well, I don't either. I don't either. And I don't know how many fans believe they will be. I just think he's going to the AFC, and good luck. You got to go through Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow to get there. And I just don't think he's going to be able to do that. That's his issue. I mean, in the NFC, he's still arguably the best quarterback in all of the NFC. At least, Jalen Hurts is in there. I get it. But the NFC is way down on quarterbacks. The AFC is a murderer's row. Good luck. But yes, it brings absolute immediate relevance to the Jets situation. And I think they badly needed that. I certainly would not have given up next year's first round pick for 65% of this year's snaps. I thought it was next year. Wrong. I was right the first time. It was this year, which had me scratching my head and had me and John scratching our heads. That's Joe Douglas getting a little fleeced. It really is. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.